Chapter 2, Day 7. The shining star of the campus makes a decision in the flaming greenery. As the end of the day's classes drew near, a gloriously uninhibited atmosphere floated over the entire campus. In the fourth year Moon class's homeroom, in the new school building, the final class was being held. The nun, wearing a dark gray habit and a warm smile, looked over the classroom from the podium. That is all. I pray for the safety of each and every one of you as you return home. Class is over. Take care, everyone. The organ, if you please. A small organ sat close to the door of the classroom. Two students, wearing St. Meator uniforms, were seated in front of the instrument. According to the daily routine of St. Meator Girls' Academy, it was time for the hymns. In both morning and afternoon homerooms, the students sang hymns in thanks and praise of God. In response to the nun's smile, the two students gave a small nod. They both looked at each other and exchanged gentle smiles and raised their hands above the keyboard. At that signal, the entire class rose quietly from the seats and the sound of prelude began. The girls' beautiful, pure singing voices filled the room. Wow, singing hymns is cool after all. Nagisa loudly flipped through the pages of her hymnal. But I don't know this song. I wonder what the page it's on. There's so many hymns, I just don't know what to do. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Nagisa frantically searched the pages of the book. Since she hadn't been at the school very long, she didn't know where to find this particular song they were singing in this thick hymn book. I found it, this is it. I see. It's a song for the Virgin Mary. Nagisa finally joined the others. She came in late and she didn't know how to sing, but she sang proudly, without holding anything back. Oh no. The girl in the next seat cast a long glance over Nagisa. Oh dear, what am I going to do with you, Nagisa-chan? You let yourself get all frantic again. You look so serious. How cute! Suzumi Tamo, 15 years old. This was her first spring in high school, but her fourth year in Miyator. She was tall for her age, and Miyator's classic uniform suited her well. Her head looked small, perhaps because she wore her hair long and tied up, but it did expose the beautiful, gentle slope of her neck. Fascinating, elegant wisps of hair that escaped the tie caught the sunlight that came through the windows and shone black with just a tinge of blue. She was a beautiful girl who looked more composed and more mature than her actual age. Whenever Tamao saw Nagisa, she almost felt compelled to tease her. It was a sickness that had begun the day Nagisa had transferred to the school. It's like they've let a sinful child in here. I'm finally beginning to enjoy peaceful school life, but now it's just like, well, a pervert. As soon as the word popped into her head, Tamao froze for a moment, startled. No, no, that's not at all. It couldn't possibly be. What am I thinking? She shook her head a little. Phew. Mentally, she took a deep sigh. She had to think of something to lift her spirits. She put on a vague smile and shook her head in total resignation. Tap, tap, tap. She gently tapped Nagisa's shoulder and whispered, Hey, Nagisa-chan, listen to this. It looks like Shizuma One-sama is outside. What? Nagisa turned frantically and looked out the classroom window, almost toppling in her chair in the process. Several nearby students looked at her, still singing. Flustered, Nagisa ducked her head and cast a questioning glance towards the nun at the podium before looking backwards towards the window. The only thing she could see outside was the top of a large double-flowered cherry tree in blossom. A single heavy-looking flower fell with a plop. Now that Nagisa thought about it, they were on the second floor. Jeez, don't do that to me, Tamao-chan. Nagisa posed as if she were going to punch Tamao, but playfully tapped her chest. In her heart, Tamao was tickled. She could be so close to Nagisa, but on her face was an exaggerated frown. Nagisa-chan really is cute. Excuse me. The classroom door opened quietly. A calm, penetrating voice caused the atmosphere in the classroom to suddenly change. Nagisa's classmates, who would barely move even if someone made a huge sound, all turned at once. Standing in the doorway was a tremendously beautiful woman, so stunning it was as if she reflected the beauty of the flowers that fluttered outside. Shizuma-senpai, Nagisa called out, remembering what Shizuma had told her, and corrected herself. Shizuma One-sama. It had happened 1 week ago, on Nagisa's memorable first day at school, when Nagisa first saw Shizuma's delicate white hand stretched out towards her in the midst of the white shower of flowers. She didn't know what to do with it. Dumbfounded, she froze stiff. Huh? Why does she have her hand out like this? Could it be she wants to hold hands? She said come with me. So she's probably going to show me the way, but why hold hands? I could understand if this was elementary school or something, but I'm in my first year of high school, so I know people tell me I look young, but I don't look like an elementary school kid, do I? I just can't stand here like this forever. Um. When the panicked Nagisa stole a timid glance at Shizuma, she saw the other still standing there, not moving. She looked like she was kind and gentle, yet strong, with a noble smile that made Nagisa want to get closer to her. As if she couldn't care less about Nagisa being shocked, speechless, Shizuma simply stood there, beautifully in the flowing wind, her outstretched arm not moving. She just kindly kept it stretched towards Nagisa, her long hair swirling beautifully around her. Nagisa looked at Shizuma's hand, patiently waiting for her, and Nagisa took it with both hands and squeezed her with all her might. Abruptly, suddenly, rudely. Squeeze. Nagisa's cheeks were bright red with nervousness. Even through the tight grip, the softness of Nagisa's palm was instantly apparent to Shizuma. Shizuma was shocked at both her rudeness and the strong warmth of her hands. Never had anyone squeeze my hand with such genuine strength. Cute little flowers always take my hand so softly and timidly, like they're touching something that might break. On the other hand, feeling the slenderness and coolness of Shizuma's hand, Nagisa was instantly hit with a sudden panic. Oh no, I can't believe it. What did I do that for? Why did I just squeeze her hand like that? I thought how weird it was to hold someone's hand, and then I thought how stupid I looked just standing there. Then I thought how pretty she was, then I thought, she doesn't want to hold my hand, does she? And then I thought, I wonder why she's just standing absolutely still, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. What'll I do? I just must have scared her. I wonder what happened. I feel like my body's gotten so warm. The two of them lifted their gazes from their clenched hands to each other's faces. A sort of electricity ran through their bodies. It's Shizuma One-sama. Shizuma One-sama. I wonder what in the world would bring her to a fourth-year classroom. In the midst of the whispering of golden voices, Shizuma slowly bowed to the nun and gave her a gorgeous smile as she spoke. I must apologize for interrupting your homeroom, sister. I've come to get the student who's in charge of the holy water today. Sighs of adoration rose from the class. The girls looked like they were about to faint. Ah, what a perfect, beautiful bow she made. I could watch her all day. I actually got to see Shizuma One-sama. This is the luckiest day of my life. Oh, why thank you, the nun said politely. You are Hanazono-san, correct? Your duties must be hard today. With a cheerful grin, she turned the pages of the attendance book. The students in charge of the holy water today is... Oh my, it's our transfer student, Aoi-san. Nagisa and Temo stopped their playful punches in midair. What? Me? Nagisa was so shocked, she almost stopped breathing. All the eyes of the classroom were on Nagisa. Oh great, I feel like they're staring daggers at me. Well then, please come here, Aoi-san. With an air of calm, Shizuma walked slowly towards Nagisa. She stopped and reached out her hand to Nagisa and gave her a powerful look that said plainly, Please take my hand. Go on, hurry. When Nagisa timidly brushed her fingertips, Shizuma immediately clenched her hand and pulled the girl toward her. Nagisa lost her balance and fell right into Shizuma's chest. A tiny scream rose from within the back of the classroom. Wrapped in Shizuma's arms, Nagisa remembered that day. Shizuma's large, strong-willed, almond-shaped eyes, Nagisa's round, childlike, innocent ones reflecting in Shizuma's. It was the same day a week ago. Enveloped in a cherry-colored mist, the eyes of the two girls met. Neither of them saw their surroundings. Their eyes were wide open, but they only gazed at each other, as if they were trying to take in every last bit of each other's faces. They gazed at each other soundlessly, as if everything was suddenly in slow motion. The words Shizuma said next echoed in Nagisa's ears. From this day forward, you are my younger sister. Call me Shizuma One-sama. If you break your promise, Shizuma nipped at Nagisa's finger. I will punish you. Shizuma released Nagisa's finger from her mouth, glistened with dampness. The spring breeze brushed coolly across it. Nagisa felt like she could still feel the coolness on her finger, even now, just as Nagisa was about to get lost in the memory. I will lead you. Shizuma's cool voice echoed through the classroom. For just this moment, she gave Nagisa a strong embrace. With a satisfied smile on her face, she led the blushing Nagisa out of the classroom with an arm around her. Clatter! The closing of the heavy door echoed through the room. A second later, the classroom was thrown into commotion. Oh, Shizuma One-sama! Seeing Nagisa taken away right in front of her, Tama was so frustrated she ground her teeth. Around the same time, I wonder what Nagisa One-sama is doing right about now. The words were only a faint mutter on the girl's lips. The girl was Tsukidate Chiyo, 12 years old. She was in the first year of flower class's homeroom at St. Minator. Her pitch black hair was cut in a shoulder-length bob. The innocent, impressionable girl was also genuinely upper class. She had gone to the same kindergarten as Shizuma and was now attending Minator. With the classroom over, the class had begun cleaning up. Chiyo paused in her sweeping and looked outside the window at the double-flowered cherry tree. Remembering the day she had met Nagisa, the day she had decided Nagisa was her One-sama. It had been about a week ago, the day the strawberry dorms had opened for the year. Even now she could see it clearly. The cherry blossoms had been fluttering that day too, but it hadn't been a double-flowered cherry tree, which she found beautiful, but somehow cheap-looking. No, it had been a Yoshino cherry tree, light pink and as delicate as a thin, ephemeral cloud. Shizuma One-sama had been there, beautiful and gentle like a cherry blossom spirit. Chiyo was captivated by the memory. Before she even noticed, she started shuffling her feet. She was fidgety for some reason. Tomorrow is Easter. I really don't know why, but I get the feeling something wonderful is going to happen. A voice coming from the hallway interrupted Chiyo's thoughts. Chiyomaru, it's time for the library committee meeting. Okay, I'll be right there. Wow, look, it's Shizuma One-sama. How do you do, Shizuma? Shizuma One-sama, you look beautiful as ever. The comments came from all around her. Cheers echoed through the red-carpeted hallway. A ring of blushing girls, their heads bowed reverently, opened up in front of her like a ripple. It's all right, it's all right. Please don't go to so much trouble, my cute little daisies. Shizuma was entirely unmoved by the girls' cheers and reverence. She simply kept walking and waving her hand with a grin on her face, looking like a queen, giving her subjects a royal smile. The cheering grew like a bubble ready to burst on the water surface. Watching Shizuma act so much like a queen, Nagisa couldn't help but blushing. Shizuma One-sama might be even more amazing than I thought. Shizuma strode majestically down the hallway with a huge smile. She always did. But she noticed that Nagisa, walking next to her, hung her head. She dipped her own head and peeked into Nagisa's face. Oh dear, whatever is the matter, Nagisa-chan? Shizuma's long hair billowed and waved, and the fragrance of flowers blossomed all around her. It's nothing. The smile Shizuma gave Nagisa was so beautiful, almost made her catch her breath. She looked even more like a majestic goddess than before. Flustered, Nagisa shook her head. Nagisa started to get the feeling that someone like her shouldn't be next to someone like Shizuma. She was completely unsure of herself. Shizuma enjoyed the expression on Nagisa's face. She tried hard to suppress her naturally flirtatious expression. Oh, Nagisa-chan, don't sulk. She placed her hand under Nagisa's chin and forced her head up so she could gaze into her eyes. There was more than a 10-centimeter difference in their heights. Shizuma had to bend down to peek into Nagisa's face. As Shizuma watched, Nagisa's big round eyes started clouding with tears. What beautiful, adorable eyes. Devoted, adorable, just like a little puppy. I can't take it anymore. Shizuma's face moved closer to Nagisa's as if pulled by some force. Shizuma planted a kiss on Nagisa's forehead. Screams rose from the crowd of girls that surrounded them. Ah, Shizuma-san, Shizuma One-sama, she... Shoot, now I've done it. Shizuma mentally scolded herself. Forgot we were out in public, right in the hallway of Minator. She pulled Nagisa's wrist. Let's go, Nagisa. She took off as fast as she could. You're going too fast. The screams and angry roars of the girls faded behind her almost instantly. Shizuma stopped just as they reached the exit. Beyond the open door was a broad, lush green lawn leading to the back gate. Nagisa finally caught her breath. Wow, Shizuma One-sama must be very good at sports, although I'm not so slow myself. I can't believe she can run so fast in such a long skirt, and she's not even breathing hard at all. Good. I think we fooled them about the kiss. Shizuma murmured in a low voice as she checked to see if there were any people in the back gate. Huh? What did we fool them about? It's okay, it's okay. I mean, look, we managed to baffle my adorable little flowers, right? Shizuma waved her hand frantically right in front of Nagisa's eyes. Oh, yes, I guess you're right. That's good. But what a shock. I never knew you were so fast. Shizuma looked at Nagisa's beaming smile and chuckled to herself. My, you really are innocent and sweet after all. Aren't you, Nagisa-chan? You're the one who was fooled by adorable little puppy. Shizuma slowly put her hand to her hip and spoke more seriously. By the way, Nagisa-chan, you do know that tomorrow is Easter. It's the most important day of the year for Catholics, and we're going to the church to bring some holy water to the classrooms. Oh, that's what you meant about being in charge of the holy water. Do you mean the church at Maiden Park? Right. So we're going to have a little date in the garden. Doesn't that sound nice? Shizuma took Nagisa's arms and leisurely led her out the door. St. Miyatoro Girls' Academy. It was a girls' school with a long and distinguished history. The old convent, sitting at the peak of the wide, hilly area that was originally called Estrella Hill, was the school's mother institution. When the school was first founded, only girls from families that were financially blessed could receive higher education. Among these, Miyator gathered only young ladies from the most elite families. The single school gave the girls a consistent education from kindergarten all the way through high school. The progressive education and rigorous discipline imparted by Catholic nuns at the convent's vast grounds, in an environment completely forbidden to boys, made the school incredibly popular among nobles and certain rich families who saw the need for higher education for their girls but faced limited choices. This popularity, of course, raised the school's status, which grew even faster as the number of newly rich families grew. Sending a daughter to St. Miyator's Girls' Academy was seen as proof of success. Striking popularity brought in far more applicants than the school could handle with the space and number of staff they had. So, St. Spica Girls' Institute and St. Lulium Girls' School were built as sister schools in order to take in the overflow. Miyator continued to focus on rigorous discipline and strict rules, and an ideal of conservative high-class education, and also boasted the fact that over 50% of its girls became engaged while at the school. In comparison, Spica was liberal and promoted the image of independent girls advancing in society. Lulim's goals was the happiness of girls, and it was sought to nurture modern wives and wise mothers. Each school had its own unique atmosphere, and the varied curricula attracted a variety of applicants. The three schools of Estrella Hill remain the most popular schools in the area. Entering the campus from the base of the hill, Miyator was in the center, Spica to the left, and Lulim to the right. Each had their own campus, gymnasium, and courtyard, and each had its own entrance as well. So, although they were sister schools, they were all fundamentally separate and functioned independently. The schools did share use of several buildings and facilities, however. One building included a large auditorium where joint events were held, a large theater, and other facilities that all three schools used. There was also a convent, the mother institution of the schools, and the church associated with the convent. The schools also shared a vast garden called Maiden Park, which stretched behind the school buildings. In the middle of the garden was a small lake, and nearby, at the apex of the hill, was a large landmark church. There was one other facility that the schools shared. It was a triangle-shaped building, quietly tucked away in the furthest corner of the campus. Its nickname was the Strawberry Dorms. The Strawberry Dorms were the dormitories for students attending Estrella's three schools. Some of the large number of students who attended these famous schools came from far away. The dormitory had been built for those students for whom it would be too far for a daily commute. Many from the oldest, most noble families could potentially have commuted to their schools for the purpose of getting an education. They were still boarded in the Strawberry Dorms. There, they learned the ability to take control of their everyday lives. At the same time, these rare beauties were protected from the outside world. It was a reminder of a time long past, when attending a girls' school was part of training in the domestic arts and preparation for becoming a wife. The young ladies who boarded in Strawberry Dorms went to the school by walking a path through Maiden Park, and then, when classes were over, they walked back through the park again, back to the Strawberry Dorms. There was absolutely no chance for them to have contact with the outside world. The girls lived entirely within the school, a pure world within the walls that were reserved only for young ladies. A world of classes, sports, friendship, and love, as well as mental and emotional bonds and passionate physical aches, all of it existing only between girls. Wow, it sure is a long walk just to get to the church, isn't it? Nagisa swung her arms cheerfully as she walked on the shimmering lawn. Shizuma's face softened as she looked at her. That's right, the Miyator campus is big, but Maiden Park is huge. Wait, is it your first time going to the church, Nagisa? I thought there was a mass there during open ceremonies. Oh, that day I had some transfer paperwork to fill out at the convent, and then a nun took me from the convent right to the church, so it's my first time going to the church from the school. Nagisa turned and looked at Shizuma, her face shining like a plump, fresh white peach ripened in the brilliant spring sunshine. She looked so soft and gentle. It was all Shizuma could do to keep herself from reaching out and touching her. Oh, I see. Then the first time you came here, Nagisa, you went through the real main gate, right? Huh? The real main gate? Afraid that maybe she'd messed something up again without even realizing it, Nagisa jerked to a stop. When Shizuma saw the frightened expression on Nagisa's face, something welled up in her heart. Shizuma reached out to her. You must not know then. It was before Miotor was built. Back then the only thing on the hill was the convent and the church. If you look from St. Miotor's gate, you can see all of Estrella Hill. Look, can you see the large gate that leads to Main Park? Oh! Shizuma's hand moved suddenly and brushed Nagisa's uniform at her chest. Her dark green tie swayed gently. That's the true main gate for the campus and all the buildings on the hill. A proper and holy gate reigning over these grounds where only pure maidens live. Nagisa was tense for a moment, but Shizuma's hand swept far and high, gesturing towards the part of the hill farthest away from where they stood, just visible under the clear blue sky. With a slight blush, Nagisa looked where Shizuma pointed. She couldn't see much, but if she strained her eyes in the shadow of a huge tree very, very far away, she saw something that looked like a corner of a giant bronze-colored gate. She looked at it and imagined what the giant main gate to this hill, where her time-honored school stood, must be like. A chill ran down her spine. She couldn't help but think how beautiful Shizuma looked, pointing across the sky. Was a little moved. Shizuma took the opportunity to swing around behind Nagisa. That's why the path from the gate to the church is called the Old Approach. Shizuma explained as she eyed Nagisa, who was fascinated by the gate. No one uses the Old Approach now, except during the coronation of the Etoile. It's covered by countless beautiful flowers. It's magical. Estrella has quite a lot of events. Carefully, so she wouldn't brush against Nagisa, Shizuma spread her arms wide. Hey Nagisa, do you know about the biggest and best, the grandest event in all of Estrella? It's the Etoile competition, where the students select a couple who best represent the three schools. That is this holy place, where only the Etoile and her cadet are allowed to go. Nagisa's mind was still on the gate at the bottom of the hill. Shizuma examined her innocent profile, her cheeks blushing slightly as if she weren't aware of Shizuma's wicked movements. You could say, Nagisa said slowly, that Main Park is the heart of Estrella, and Miotor, Spica, and Lulim are its backyard. Shizuma had the sudden urge to eat Nagisa up. She closed the circle of her arms around her. Do you have any interest in the Etoile, Nagisa? If you make it through all the trials, you will become part of the greatest couple in all three schools, blessed in the presence of God himself. There are a lot of girls who would love to come here and try to beat the Etoile. Squeeze, I've got you. Shizuma was just about to say it when, oh! Nagisa screamed and ran 2 or 3 steps as if she didn't even notice Shizuma's arms circling her. She flailed her arms frantically. Oh, look, there's a castle! When she looked back at Shizuma, Nagisa's mouth was wide open. It looked perfect for stuffing a big onigiri in, Shizuma thought. Shizuma was dumbfounded for a second, but then she looked at the building Nagisa pointed to and smiled meaningfully. Ah, that's the secret garden. The low sound of a chair scraping the floor disturbed the pleasant silence of the large open space of the main hall of the library. A student wearing a white uniform pushed her chair back and got up from the large reading table. Her short, double-breasted jacket had a wide collar and a high waist. Her matching skirt was a tight mini. It was the school uniform of St. Spica's Girls' Institute, with its sailor look. In the silence, which was as taut as the head of a drum, the tall student was acutely aware of the attention of the other students sitting around her. Focused on her every move, eyes peered at her from behind books propped up unnaturally on the table. When she stared back, those eyes slipped behind the books, again to hide. One set of hands grasping a thick cover shook, and a book clattered against the desk. Even here too, huh? The girl let out a small mental sigh, grabbing the book she had been reading, and left her seat. Heading towards the checkout desk at the counter was a small Miotor student with bobbed hair. Thank you. Could you put this back for me? The St. Spica girl asked. Sure, I'm sorry, it's a reference only, and you couldn't take it out. The girl at the counter with the library committee armband on her arm, who appeared to be a first-year student, looked like she was about to cry. The tall student, Otori Amane, couldn't help but think, I wish you wouldn't get so nervous over me. It's all right. Just looking at it here was enough to see what I wanted. Really? That's wonderful. The girl shrugged her shoulders apologetically. All of Estrella directories are so thick and heavy, especially this Miator directory. Especially this Miator directory because it has so many student pictures. That's why it can't be taken out. I see. I was surprised because I didn't think very many people would even need to use this kind of book. I wondered if the restriction is meant to protect privacy. There is that too, but here, take a look at this. The library committee girl opened the large book to a picture that filled the entire page. It was a tall, beautiful, mature-looking girl, standing nobly with a crown on her head and a scepter in her hand, just like a queen. Nestled close beside her was a fragile-looking girl with very light brown hair, a small tiara on her head, and a kind of smile on her face. They were both wearing uniforms of St. Meator's Girls' Academy. The page looked very well worn. The library committee girl didn't even have to flip to the book to find it. It had been so often looked at that it naturally opened up to the right picture. Amane flinched. That's the part I was looking at. It's a picture from last year's Etoile competition. The entire school was excited because they saw it as the birth of the greatest Meator couple in a long time. I heard that everyone in the school tried to copy this picture, and the crowd caused a huge mess. The girl lowered her voice. There was even some who tried to tear it out and steal it. Flustered by Amane's silence, the girl hastily put on a smile. Oh no, now that I've said that, what if she thinks Meator is a school with loose morals? She quickly tried to change the subject. It has a lot of pictures of many other wonderful Ine-sama too, so I'm sure the restriction was also made to keep the book going missing. I suppose you're right. Noticing that Amane was at a loss for words, the library committee girl's expression turned to one of worry. Are you really sure it's all right? Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's all right. There was a picture I wanted to see, just like you said. I wanted to look at it somewhere peaceful and quiet, which the Speaker's library is not. Amane added with a somewhat bitter smile. Her words were packed with feelings of self-derision as she remembered the noise in her own school's library. Oh, really? A lot of students from Spica and Lulim have been using our libraries lately. I'm so glad to hear people from the other schools like it here. If you like, please don't hesitate to come again. I think this is a wonderful, calm place for reading books, too. Next time I'll show you the best place in the whole library. She beamed a truly genial, radiant, and utterly innocent smile. Amane was just a little stunned by it and couldn't help but smiling back. If students from Spica and Lilim are coming here often, I think it just means the fame of the secret garden is spreading, that's all. Well, no matter. Amane put on her own smile. Ha, thank you. You really love this library, don't you? Yes, it's like whenever I come here, I can feel myself relaxing. I start to feel more positive. Like, as long as I try my best, even with the little things, I'll be happy. Amane leaned over the counter towards the girl. Her face drew close to the girl's as if she were going to peer into it. What's your name? My name is Tsukidate Chio. I really hope everyone is comfortable using this library. Her smile gave away her shyness, but at the same time, she took pride in her duty protecting this dignified library. Oh, that's a cute name. I'm Otori. As Amane started giving her name, the corners of Chio's mouth curved into a smile. I know. Huh? You're Otori Amane-sama from the 5th year class Troy at St. Spica's Girls' Institute, correct? You're famous, so I recognized you. I'm honored to meet you, Chio said to Amane, her voice entirely unpretentious. So she knows me. But when Amane looked at Chio, she felt a little relieved that there were girls like her. So this is the kind of thing that does happen even when I go to other schools. It's probably only going to get worse. She figured that she could bear it for just this 1 year. I'll come back again. I hope next time we'll be able to doze off together, reading an even better book. Goodbye. Good luck with your library committee job. She turned around and left the counter, waving her hand behind her. Chairs clattered as several students, who must have been eavesdropping on the girls' conversation, raced towards the counter. It wasn't a castle, it was a library. Since Nagisa had never been inside, Shizuma said with a meaningful smile she would take a little detour and show her the way. Amid the profusion of small white flowers stood a white stone wall and a building that looked from the outside like an old castle. Wooden doors 3 stories tall were visible from the front facade. Nagisa had only seen such elaborate doors once before on a school trip to an art museum. These doors were so heavy and massive the two girls could only open one side. Beyond the doors was a cavernous entrance hall, almost as big as the classroom, with high ceilings supported by several giant pillars. Click. When Nagisa stepped inside, her footsteps echoed off the stone floor, which had a large black and white checkerboard pattern. The cool air brushed off her skin, and it was so quiet she wondered whether there was anybody there. Coming in here from the Bright Maiden Park was like stepping into a completely different world. Nagisa instinctively looked up at the tall, dome-shaped ceiling. When she saw its stained glass windows with their beautiful geometric patterns and lily motif, she couldn't help but gasp. Nagisa's jaw dropped. Ever since she had entered Miyator, she had constantly been struck by the feeling she was on some sort of trip. Shizuma watched in amusement. It looks like Nagisa's ended up someplace she never imagined. Oh, what's the matter? Nagisa, your mouth is hanging wide open, Shizuma said, smiling as she drew up beside this flabbergasted Nagisa. Oh no, I'm so sorry. You don't have to apologize. Shizuma reached a hand to Nagisa's lips. Goodness, Nagisa, you're drooling. Nagisa was flustered, but Shizuma invited her deeper into the library with a big smile. Click, 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 click. The floor faithfully made a spectacular sound with every single one of Nagisa's panicked steps. Please wait for me. Chasing after Shizuma, Nagisa entered the sacred ground beyond the main hall. Unlike the entrance, the high-walled interior of the building had a floor with a delicate mosaic of dark polished wood and stone. It was dimly lit and wrapped in silence. A few lamp-like lights were situated high along the wall, which made Nagisa wonder how they changed the light bulbs. She was stunned by this seemingly empty space, but when she took a more careful look deeper inside, she saw what seemed to be a checkout counter all the way in the back, and the shapes of people here and there, lit by orange flower-shaped lights. Even though she couldn't see anyone clearly, she could hear the very faint rustling coming from a variety of places all around here. It's so quiet, I thought maybe there wasn't anyone here, but still, even though it's so cool and quiet, I feel like there's an air of excitement, like a candle flame burning without sound. Shizuma came up and whispered to her, This is called the Secret Garden. It's quiet and dark, yet full of excitement. Doesn't it have an atmosphere of secrecy? There's even a rumor that they come out here. What comes out? Well, something you probably hate, Nagisa-chan. Something I hate? What could that be? Well, something that starts with G and rhymes with toast. Toast? Oh, ghosts! Nagisa shouted without thinking. Shh, don't shout like that. This is a library, you know. Shizuma hurriedly put a hand over Nagisa's mouth to quiet her, but it looked like she was having a lot of fun doing it. Can't believe there are ghosts in such a wonderful library. Nagisa was a little depressed. She really did hate ghosts. Hey, look, Shizuma whispered into her ear. There are some wonderful, adorable little ghosts. At Shizuma's urging, Nagisa looked. Not far from where they stood were movable book racks over 2 meters tall. Just beyond them, through the cracks, she caught a glimpse of people moving. It's all right, they won't see us from here, Shizuma said in a low voice. Nagisa peered between the bookcases and listened to the conversation. But you said you were going to do it this time, didn't you? Yeah, but leave it to me. You don't have to think about anything. I think I... Shh, don't say it. I know what you want even without saying it. From between the book racks, the arm of someone dressed in a white uniform reached for something, then tried to hug it closer. Long, perfectly straight hair rustled against the uniform. A sweet, spicy musk emanated from her long hair and wafted between the book racks towards Nagisa. My beloved Hikari-chan, the girl with the long hair said. It's all right. She pulled the other girl closely and gently embraced her. I want you to understand my feelings, just a little. Yeah, Chan. Shh, be quiet. The girl squeezed the second girl tighter and tighter, twisting her body, making her long skirt slide up. The girl's skirt slid up so high it revealed her panties, and her cheeks, pure and white, peeked from underneath the hem. The other girl slid her hand along them. The young girl's voice trembled. The hand that had been stroking her butt disappeared even further up her skirt, causing a loud cry from the girl. At the most important point, Shizuma forced Nagisa's face towards herself. Any more will be too much for you, Nagisa-chan, right? Nagisa almost wanted to see more, but had the feeling it was a good thing she hadn't. What is this? What the heck is this? What is this? In answer to Nagisa's unspoken question, Shizuma whispered an explanation. She explained the rumors about this place and how to use it. although there didn't seem to be many people around. All around them in the shadows of the bookshelves, couples enjoyed a secret rendezvous. They are scared, modest rendezvous between maidens, she said. Being a library, it's quiet and only certain people come here, so there aren't many interruptions. They say that ever since before anyone can remember, it's been a popular rendezvous point for girls who long each other. People started calling it the secret garden. Although the meetings are called rendezvous, it doesn't necessarily mean anything particularly big happens. That's what Shizuma said, but Nagisa wasn't sure she believed her. It seemed one way girls had of confirming each other's love was to hide in the shadows of the bookshelves together, open books in front of them, and pretend to look into each other's books so they could secretly touch cheek to cheek. After all, that's just about all young girls are capable of doing. But they couldn't try even such a modest thing without being nudged on by the dignified, secretive, beautiful atmosphere of the library. At least for normal girls, Shizuma said. That's why when you come to the library, it's definitely worth seeing the innocent, excited faces of underclassmen who are invited here by upperclassmen. Once in a while, there are girls who get wonderfully intense, like the ones you just saw. At times like that, I feel almost like I've won something. When two people love each other, it's only natural that they want to touch each other more and more, Nagisa-chan. This is bad, Nagisa thought. Is that what rendezvous is? Is that... it's just... after that, did they... Nagisa's heart began to pound. In response to her thoughts, her body began to heat up. Shizuma didn't seem to notice Nagisa's discomfort, though. It looks like the Spica girls have started to use it lately, too. But if they're doing it here, then they must still be beginners. There's a better spot. They were just beginners? Nagisa was so shocked her jaw dropped again, and then, huh? Without realizing it at first, Nagisa found herself being hugged by Shizuma. Nagisa's heart pounded as cold sweat ran down her back. She remembered the couple they had just seen, the pure white uniforms crumpled by tight embrace, the skirt that had slid up, the hand that had gone up with it. It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that we ended up like this, I'm sure of it. It's because I yelled before she tried to stop me and... Nagisa desperately tried to convince herself, but when she thought about where she was and what she had seen, could there really be girls who do something like that here? She felt like running away. Shizuma One-sama, if that's how it is, we must be bothering them. So maybe it's time for us to leave. She tried to squirm out of Shizuma's arms, but Shizuma seemed to have anticipated Nagisa's reaction. Shizuma gently stroked the nape of Nagisa's neck and softly whispered into her ear, "Aw, don't do that, Nagisa. You're the one who said you wanted to come here, and you invited me, you know." Shizuma's breath brushed against her cheek. Shizuma's voice was very sexy. Her breath had a fragrance of roses. Nagisa's entire mind was suddenly a blur of pink. This is why we came here, isn't it? I'm so happy, Nagisa. It's all right. Leave it to me. I'll be very gentle with you. Shizuma's hand slowly crept its way from Nagisa's neck towards her chest. What? This is this... could it be? No, it couldn't possibly be. I mean, we're both girls. The ribbon tie at Nagisa's chest swayed. It really is. When Nagisa thought she sensed Shizuma's fingers on her chest, she couldn't take it anymore. I think I'm out to leave after all. I have to go to the toilet. She closed her eyes, thrusting herself away from Shizuma, and ran down the hall. Shizuma was dumbfounded. What? That's the first time something like that's ever happened. Moments before, Shizuma had been able to tell that a pink-colored mist had shrouded Nagisa's mind while she was in Shizuma's arms. This is going to work, Shizuma had thought. Normally, when Shizuma brought a girl that far, she would fall right into Shizuma's hands. I've never brought a girl that far and had her slip out of my arms before. I have to go to the toilet? She has no sense for mood. But no matter. I've taken even more interest in you now, Nagisa. You were actually capable of rejecting me. Shizuma smiled with obvious delight and quietly walked after Nagisa.